Did you get the link to the photos?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I sent it out.
I was worried about
Hello, come on in. Yeah, well, are you guys, you go in.
Oh.
So here's what's going to happen. If nobody shows, see Brandon, if you sit right there. So that,
Are you using mic?
no,
Oh, you got
don't need it. Recording. Well, pick a seat. That looks comfy. Mary Ellen, I saw you sign up. Okay, nice to meet you. Come on and make yourself comfortable. Sit next to my friend Andrea here.
Here and there because it's a little wonky, so it's gonna.
Okay.
I'm just leaving it alone.
All right. You want to zoom in a little bit when I'm.
I don't know, like I get on live stream.
Oh, you can't. There you go.
Oh,
Nice.
oh, I've never been able to do that.
There you go. You should consider Android now from now on. So, Andrea? Let's see. Yeah. So, when you're done checking people and sit next to Andrea, and then or no, in front of her.
In the front row?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're right kind of security long, and then Julie, you can sit next to Sabrina.
This is my daughter. She's here for her
Oh,
first time
no.
homelaying.
Oh no, you're part of it. Yeah, you are. You don't know. I'm it's a surprise. Happy birthday. It's I
I got a buddy that's doing.
give me some give me at 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you got 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna have about 5 more before I put Richie up. Keep it, I don't have a clock, so I don't want to go over. So I need to say like
So at 30 minutes, call you?
yeah, just go.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 30 minutes, and then I want to just maybe speak for 5 or 7 more minutes, and then we'll bring Richie up.
Okay.
Hi, how are you? Good, I'm Ken.
Larry.
Hi, Larry. All right, come on. Make yourself comfortable. Make yourself at home. And I don't even know what time it is, so.
10:58.
Okay, here we go. A few more people. Oh, here comes. Oh, good. You can wire up Richie now. Is this thing on?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to connect to your. I have no signal, but I don't want to connect to it and ruin it.
No.
So I want to look at the sound.
Just have him.
Yes.
Richie Gill. How's it going? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, all right. You're behind the Zoom screen, so yeah. Audio gal.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Go ahead right now.
Well, that way he's. I mean,
I
you
have
can,
it off. And
yeah, I have
then
it.
I'll come on a little bit.
Okay.
So just have us on either your pocket or yes. It's not too close to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and we got a live stream going on, which probably going to have a lot of attention because we've been pumping it out big time. So yeah, it's been cool. This is nice to be able to have this facility.
Yeah. Are you live on your personal Facebook or?
It's on my Renner Realty.
Renner Realty.
Yeah. We had about 20 people register, but what's that? We already have 21 people in the stream. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Oh, hello, everybody. Gonna get started here in a couple minutes. Thanks for joining the live stream. Tell a friend or neighbor. Can you text Michelle to send out the home buying crash course link to the to Papa and to the? There's also a family. She has a family WhatsApp. Kind of calls it just home buying crash.
Hey Graham, thank you so much for subscribing. We're going to be starting here very soon. Just give us a few minutes and we'll get started.
Yeah. Oh, really?
But I'm watching. I
All
can
right.
monitor for you.
All right. Well, if there's any questions anybody wants to ask, you can put it in the live chat, and Jackie will let us know that you have any questions. So, awesome.
There you go.
And we got the cool country music behind, and that's got the Texas vibe.
There you go.
I think Papa, since we're going to honor his legacy for leaving a
Were you able to get on?
nice family, it's pretty cool.
What?
It's called. What time you got?
11:02.
Okay, we got a few more minutes. Here comes one.
How much is it? We're
All righty then. Let's get started. Tell a friend or neighbor.
We'll talk about it.
1102, 1102.
Just testing the sound. But really
Well, welcome y'all. Really appreciate you coming on a nice hot and balmy day here in Central Texas. So appreciate you taking some time to listen to a couple different types of presentation. We've kind of done a hybrid presentation here. We're going to do some wealth building through real estate, and then we're going to talk about how to protest your property taxes. And so just kind of quick survey for how many are here for property taxes? To learn how to do that, okay? So, and how many are here for investment or wealth building? Awesome, great. Okay, how many are already, obviously, everybody homeowners already? Okay, so, and is anybody an investor? Has anybody, whoa, look at you guys go. How old are you? 27, all right. So great deal, get started early, right? Okay, so in fact, that's anything investing, starting early and starting young is going to be the way that you can really, it doesn't matter, it's the stock market, stay in it, stay for the long haul. So Brandon, you're doing all right. So, anyways, yeah, hybrid presentation, I'll be talking about 35 minutes. I got, and then we're going to bring Richie Gill up. He's an expert at property taxes. What, you do 10,000 property tax protests? 20,000, okay, so there must be some people really protesting hard. Okay, yeah, it's pretty exciting to see what's happening. Richie saved me several thousands of dollars in property taxes. I used to do it myself, but I realized the time involved and the expertise. I have it because I know how to get the comps and how to adjust and everything like that. But you almost have to be an appraiser to fight an appraiser, and so it's going to be really cool to hear him. So this is all about how to build and make money, but then it's also about how to save money. And so we've got some good resources. This is a book that I wrote. I wrote this back in, believe it or not, 2010. And I remember it because my daughter, who's here with me, she's turning 16 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Julia. Yeah. I was writing this book when my wife was pregnant. So it was 2010, and then I rewrote it. We just revised it for increasing the numbers, because things have doubled and tripled since then. And so I rewrote it last year, and it's literally had helped thousands of people with this book. It's was started basically. I started here in 1993 is when I first came to Austin, and I was coming from California. And so, don't hold that against me either. So, but yeah, so I was coming from California, and I actually came out on a couple of investment trips first to see what the Texas is all about. Because about in 89, 90, my father-in-law said, "Hey, we're in Orange County." He said, "You ought to go check out this place called Austin, Texas." I go, "Really? Like cowboy hats and is it like tumbleweeds and all that?" And he said, "No, it's really neat. I've been going out there and investing. I think you really should go do that. Check it out." And I said, "Okay, I'll go check out Austin, Texas." So flew out here with him, and we went on a tour, and everything was half price off. I mean, it was during the end of the '80s where the recession had taken up so much of the real estate had collapsed in Texas because of the financing and tax laws and everything like that. And so in California, though, our late '80s market was pretty booming. We had a lot of aerospace industries, and I was in Orange County, thriving area, but the prices were too high, and I couldn't afford the prices there. So he said, "Well, just go there." So it came out here. I fell in love with it, and I'm a musician, so I'm like, okay, all that. And it was back when it was cool, when Willie Nelson's playing on 6th Street, right, that kind of thing. So yeah, at that point I decided to make plans to move here. So I got married in 1993, and we moved here and started working in the loan business and real estate. And so I actually wrote this presentation for a realtor, and it's been the same presentation, at least the home buying part of it, since 1993. It hasn't changed. Now, how we buy homes as far as the internet and all that kind of stuff has changed, but the actual steps have not really changed a lot. But I got my first license. I bought my first house when I was 19 years old in Anchorage, Alaska. It was the scariest thing I ever did. It was $72,000, and bought it with my sister. She helped me co-sign 3.5% FHA loan, and I got my first house when I was 19. I also got my first real estate license when I was 19, because I didn't really believe in my college education wasn't looking too sharp. I'm just not a good college kind of guy. So I did 1 year of college, and I decided I'm going in to help people buy their properties and make dreams come true. And that's kind of that's my purpose of all this has been. And so since then, with no education in college, I've built up a pretty massive portfolio of real estate. I teach others how to do that. But it starts with the first one, which is first time, and then it goes to the move up, and then it's investment, and then it's retire, which didn't make it should be right here, retire, and then legacy. We're going to be talking about that. So anyways, we're talking about my mission is to help people change their destinies. Whether we're selling a first-time home buyer or a move-up or a retirement home, we're involved in not just selling them something. We're in the business of changing their destiny, and so that becomes more. What we do is more of a calling than it is a job or a business, and so that's what makes it fun. And so our motto of our company, and Andrea can attest to this, is. And it's not always having fun, because it's a challenge, especially in markets like this, but having fun, making dreams come true through real estate. So that's and so who I am, like I said, I've been doing this since 1983, been doing it here since 1993. So that's 33 years here in Austin, Texas. And over $500 million, $500 million in sales, several thousand homes. And now I'm just, at this point, being in business for 43 years hi Marcel, and being in the business for 43 years is that I get to now sell homes to the children of people. My gray hair is starting to show up. So I'm actually selling homes to the children of people I sold homes in the 90s. And so that's really, that's where I started talking about generational wealth. And that's something that I'm a real big fan of, and it's something that, American culture doesn't focus on the next generation, But the Proverbs I read says that a man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And I know a lot of our cultural buyers here do focus a lot more on generational wealth. But I think in our Western society, you don't really see them. We see what's mine is mine. I'll give you what I got left, right? But right now, we're I'm excited to be able to serve you guys. I still get a thrill out of selling a primary residence, but I also because of pandemic, I was blessed because a lot of my clients are in California, Silicon Valley, high net worth areas, and so I'd already had a foothold in there through doing presentations like this, saying, get your money out of California and move it to Texas because it's a lot cheaper here, and somewhere along the line markets will change, and you want to avoid that. So you want to get around that. So I serve since 2020, I sold over 500 houses. So and that's not to impress you, but it's to impress upon you that we have a system of what we do, and we do it well. It's a very small team, but we've been doing it for so long that we really got it down. So my quick rich dad, poor dad story. My father-in-law couldn't make it today. He's sick. He's 87 years old. He got a cold, so we left him to get better. And he's 86, but he's my patriarch, my mentor that I follow. It's nice to be able to follow in footsteps. So he graduated. I don't even think he graduated from college, but he did the same thing back in the 60s. He started buying house. He bought his first house, and he bought his next house, and he kept them all. Instead of selling them, he would buy one, and then he would buy another one, pull cash out of that one, buy another one, and this went on and then he would 1031 exchange and buy more. The key is that he didn't sell his properties. He held on to them, or if he did sell them, he did what's called an exchange, so he didn't pay taxes on it. And this has gone on for years, and now he has a really nice portfolio. And so I'm following in his footsteps, and now the next generation is following, hopefully, in his footsteps. But the story is that my dad, I was born in 1963 in San Mateo, California, and we live in a house on Lexington Lane. My dad bought it. He just got out of the military. He's an attorney. He paid $17,000 on a VA loan for that house in San Mateo. And so $17,000, and a few years later, he sold it for $25,000. So he's like, wow, I'm doing really well, and so, and he's like, well, so I started thinking, because he taught me about watching the cycles of the market, even way back there in the 70s and 80s, watch the cycles of the market. So I learned that, but I also saw that every house he bought and sold and bought and sold and bought and sold, I went back, there were 12 houses through California and Pennsylvania and all this. If he had just kept those houses rather than selling them, his net worth would have been close to $20 million. I mean, the house on Lexington Lane right now appraises for $1.9 million. So he bought it for $17,000 in 1963. It would have been paid off 10 years before he passed. So it's that was, I'm comparing my father-in-law, who, he kept all his properties and just kept them. And then I compared to my dad, who it was a real estate attorney. He knew better, but he didn't keep his properties. And so that one little thing has changed the trajectory of my career. And so the one thing that George is, my father-in-law, has done, he's really ingrained to us to be frugal, right? Andrea, we don't spend, do we? No, just kidding. Yeah, sure. But I think it's important at this time I want to honor my daughter, Julia, and because she's an awesome girl. She's turning 16 tomorrow, and we were driving home one day from school. She's a Divine Savior, and she said, Dad, I kind of like real estate. I said, really? No, I really do. I do like real estate, and I think I want to get involved in it. And I'm like, our other two kids didn't have the time of day for real estate. She goes, no. She goes, somebody's got to take over the business. I'm like, okay, sign me up, girl. And so, yeah, you're ready to go. And she goes, but I want to buy a house at 18 so I could beat you because you bought yours at 19. And then the last one, she said, which is really funny, really smart. She said, well, Dad, you didn't go to college. Mom didn't go to college. So does that mean if I get my real estate license, I don't have to go to college? I said, no, that's where we stop. We stop there. That's pretty smart. But I want to bring this over because after George taught me how to build wealth in real estate, and I'm going to teach you how to build wealth in real estate. Julia, come here. This is yours. This is a medal of honor. It says, Proverbs 16:3, commit to the Lord whatever you do. 6. All right. And we don't even have to change the name of the company. It's Renner Realty. She already made a year ago, she made a flyer out of one of my flyers and put them on the refrigerator. It's still there. So that's the whole thing. Thank you, Julie. So the real estate wealth cycle. What time we got, Jackie? I want to make sure I'm staying on point. Oh man, I'm way behind. So, okay, basically it's the first time, and I cut my teeth on first time because no one wanted to help them, especially in the early 90s. Everybody had bad credit. Nobody thought they could buy a home. Everybody lost everything, so they were afraid to buy. And here I am as an investor buying a house. Like, you're paying me $700 when you can have a mortgage payment of $400, so it doesn't make sense. But they were scared, so I said, hey, if I could teach you how to buy a home, would you buy a first home? That led to presentations like this all over the city, 1993, and we ended up selling hundreds of homes just basically on that. And that's what led to the book. The book is basically based off of the presentation that I've done here. The next one's move up, and I want to pause a little bit because some people are thinking about moving up. I'm stuck in my house because I bought it in 2022, and it was at the peak, and now it's dropped, and I would lose my entire down payment if I sold it right now. I say, you don't have to sell it. Why would you sell it in a buyer's market? Why don't you sell it in a seller's market? So this young couple, they were right over here in Homestead, said, we're so stuck, we're not going to be able to get out of this. I said, look, why don't we just rent your house out? We'll show you how to do it, and we'll even lease it for you, and then you can self-manage, so you save on the property management fee, but we'd manage it for you if you want. And you can go buy that house over in Lariat. They had fallen in love with the house, but they're like, this house is in the way. I said, all we have to do is rent that house out, and you'll be able to qualify for that. They got a $60,000 discount on that house, plus a 5.25% interest rate. They're living there today, and we got their house leased here in Santa Rita in one day. So that took all the fear out of it, and it made it abilities that they could be able to move. Now, if the prices go up really quick, there's a thing called the 2 out of the last 5 year rule. So your capital gain, let's say that property doubled in value just by surprise, the house that they got for $400,000. If it doubled in value in 3 years, not that it would, but I'm just using a scenario that if there was a capital gain, if you're married, if you've lived there 2 out of the last 5 years, you don't pay taxes on the gain. So they have 3 years to decide whether they want to be landlords or not. Not too worried about it doubling in value at this point, but who knows? So don't let your current home stop you. And you probably have a 2.5 or 3% interest rate on it, so keep it. So move up, and then and most realtors don't teach that. Like, no, I want to sell it so I can make 2 commissions. So invest. That's what I teach. That whole class is on that. And in the resources that I'm going to have, that I'm going to give you, it has my latest webinar on investment presentation, which deals with the Texas Triangle, which is the Houston, San Antonio, Dallas area. So where we cherry pick our investment properties. Is anybody here for investment? Okay, great. We'll get into that in a second. And then legacy. That's where you're leaving your properties to your next next kin. And one of the things, there's so many amazing tax benefits involved in here. The biggest giveaway while we're alive is the deduction that you have for property taxes and interest on your home. So that's as an investor, you get everything associated with the home is a deduction, and then when the property appreciates, like our in-laws or like our properties appreciate, when we pass it on to their kids, they get what's called a stepped-up basis, which means that if they sold it the day before they passed, they'd probably pay half of their profit in as taxes, and the day after they pass, all the heirs get a stepped-up basis. So it starts all over. They can either sell it and not pay taxes, or this 27.5-year depreciation schedule starts over again for the heirs. So that's a really good way to transfer wealth to the next generation. All right, so this is going back to the basic presentation that I've taught mostly for move up and first timers, but we're going to talk about security. First of all, you don't have to move. Payments stay the same on 30-year fixed. We have homestead laws that protect us from litigation. And for anybody that's a renter, which I don't think they're in here, there's no rent increases. So those are, and then of course, you won't be forced to move. Me and Andrea and Sabrina just put a house on the market up in Temple. The guy's been living there for 6 years. I'm sorry, it's time for me to sell. When your lease is up, you got to move, or why don't you buy it? I can give him a 30-day notice anytime if it's and he has to move. I mean, think about the life. So there's security, you know. And then in the investment realm, it is a hedge against inflation, and it's a way to diversify. So our stock market's been doing really well. And I'll tell you one thing about that's going to happen. It's going to have to happen. Everything that's in a house or anything related to a house has to deal with oil, right? Because everything's delivered. Even the products are made out of oil. Everything like that. The price of oil stays elevated. Everything has to go up, and that's why you want to get involved right now. And you want to buy in a buyer's market. That's where we're at right now. So buy in a buyer's market. Don't sell in a seller's market if you don't have to. If you have to, I get it. The closing price to sale ratio in Austin right now is 92%. That means if you price it right, you're going to get 92% is the average offer that's accepted. That's almost a 10% discount. Builders are offering $30,000, $50,000 in $50,000 to $90,000 in incentives. It's a great time to be buying. Tax breaks. Most of the payment is tax deductible, and and it comes off of your income. For investors, it's the whole thing is deductible, all expenses, plus depreciation. Depreciation's a paper write-off. So take the value of the building, divided by 27 and a half years, and that's your deduction every year. So, and that it can add up to quite a bit, and it can offset the positive cash flow from the property, which is what we're looking for is positive cash flow. And it can even, if done right and jumping through some hoops, it can protect your ordinary income. So our high income earners, we have a strategy about that to be able to help you to be able to shelter your ordinary income. Andrea's husband is a CPA, but he's a corporate CPA. He didn't know about some of the rules like real estate professional designation to be able to help the spouse offset their the husband or wife's ordinary income. That's a big deal. That's a whole class in itself. Some more tax breaks. Some of the closing costs when you buy a house are deductible. So even the points are paid. Like say the builder pays points, like even if the seller pays the points, they're deductible on your tax returns. Even CPAs miss that. Now, I'm not doing any legal or accounting advice here. I'm just saying check with them because sometimes they can miss it. I'd say if you get into real estate investing, you want to have a team of people, of professionals like CPAs and attorneys that are specialists in real estate. A lot of times they're not. And so I, for years, had a tax preparer, great guy, kept me out of any audits. I missed all the deductions. So there's some great things, and that's what we're really well networked with experts like Maricela in the infinite banking and Richie Gill to save money on property taxes. So, oh wow, okay. So, and the next one is investment. So when you're buying a home for yourself, the value does go up over time, and the loan balance goes down, and the difference is equity. And this is kind of what we all, as investors, we're banking on the equity. But as a home buyer and somebody who's buying their next home, they're usually taking their equity and going and buying their next house, because on average, the average appreciation rate is about 4.2% nationwide over the last 40 years. Basically about 5%. Because 5% per year, if they bought a $400,000 house, then in 5 years, the equity, if it was the national average, so about $125,000 gain. A lot of people take that gain, buy more property. We didn't, when we moved here, we didn't take the gain. We pulled cash out of it, some of it to put a larger down payment on our house here. Okay, so, and then what I what I've done with clients over the years, and preached this, teached it, 10 properties in 10 years, pay them off in 20, and you're pretty much freedom. So in other words, buy 10 properties, one a year for 10 years, put them on 15-year notes, take any positive cash flow you get, put it towards the principal, and they're paid off in 20 years. This is a simple formula for financial freedom. All right. So same steps, and since we're running out of my time, I'm just going to run through this. But big on goal setting. But I didn't graduate from college, but I learned how to set goals really early. So set a goal if you're interested in whether you buy a first move up, a retirement home. Is to set a goal and then make a plan. For home buyers, you're going to be looking for your needs and wants. What are absolutely necessary? I'm not moving unless I get this. Those are needs. That's what I need to know. And then wants. What are the? It'd be nice to have. It'd be nice to have a pool. It'd be nice to have this. And investment wise, it's a different conversation. Where are you at financially? What are you looking? How much are you looking to invest? Where what's your tolerance? And it's a whole different financial talk. And so making a plan, I oftentimes say to the wife, sit down with the husband if you're talking, and then put a needs on one side and wants on the other. And the needs are your absolutely bottom line. That I won't move unless I get what's needed. And I actually have a needs and wants list in your book, so it makes it easy. All right, consult. That's what you're looking for is once again consultants, not. And I call this an acronym I came up with is Trusted Experts, Advisors, and Mentors. So we have been doing this for 30 years here and 40 years in the business. I've got a team of experts that you tap into when you work with me. It's all set up. I have to have all these trusted experts. That could be lenders, tax people, financial advisors, other realtors and builders. I'm good friends with the builders agents I get favor with them because if I may sell, and Marcel knows this, I may sell 20 houses in one subdivision in the course of a couple of years, where you may only buy one. I've got a little bit more leverage and a little bit more credit, be able to get things done and get bigger discounts, and also they talk more candidly too. So, but I would tell you this right now: if you're going to buy, you need a buyer's agent, somebody to represent you. Don't go to the builders on your own. There's a lot of stuff you'll be leaving on the table. Don't go to a seller alone. Sellers work. The listing agents all work for the sellers. The builders agents out there all work for the sellers. So you want to have your own representative. And in fact, the law is now we can't even show you properties unless you have a buyer's agency agreement signed, except if it's an open house. So this is all open house today. So if you want to go look at some homes, we're here for you. And the consulting, as far as like on the investment side, is the Texas Triangle: San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and Houston. Okay, and what I focus on the west side of the Texas Triangle, and we stopped buying investment properties in large bulk around 2021 in Austin because I saw the market, predicting the market was going too crazy, too overheated, and it's going to be an adjustment. So we still had some people buying it, but we moved to what I call the submarkets: New Braunfels, Temple, Texas, even Killeen, Copperas Cove area, areas that had higher income to price ratios and things like that. And it worked out really well because what I'm looking for is recession-proof real estate. So Austin's been great, and it's right now a great time to buy because we've already proven where the peak was. It's already flattened out, and it's starting to make the turn. And if you can grab another 10% from the builder or the seller, this is the time to buy. And so it will go up, and it's already started its turn. And it's nice to know you're at the bottom, but very few people invest in the bottom, right? I mean, when the pandemic hit, the stock market went down by what, 40, 50%? Did we buy then? No, very few people buy at the bottom. So, but then real estate just took off, and here we are today. Apply for financing, and I'll just make this real brief, but get a lender, not a rate. Okay, so if you find a trusted advisor, mentor, lender, which is Liz from CMG, is mine, and she was going to be here today, but she couldn't get babysitting. But I have her financing information in there. She did the loan on my house, the Scott Felder home that I own here. And she has some incredible programs. And just yesterday I found about one. That's why we have people like that. And you can buy a home with a HELOC. It's a HELOC purchase money mortgage, and you always have it's always available. As you pay the balance down, if you need money, you can just write a check from the equity in your home. That's pretty phenomenal, rather than set payment every year all the way down. So also, when you have a HELOC, if your balance is low, your payments are only amortized or interest only on the remaining balance. So your payment actually drops, where a regular 30-year fixed, it doesn't. So want a lender, not a rate. And I used to own a mortgage company, so I know how to find the best lenders out there. Search for the home, and that's obviously through the MLS and through us. Is it a primary or is it an investment? It would be different. And then when we find it, we negotiate an agreement. And there's always negotiations going on right now, especially. This is a good time. Back in the day, 5 years ago, no negotiations. Number 7, contracts processed. Basically, all the paperwork's put together, all handled by the professionals. You don't have to do anything but provide your stuff. Then we do our inspections, and we negotiate anything that we need to do as far as repairs with the seller. And then we have the closing, is where you get the keys and the deed to the property, and then you become a homeowner. So we've done this thousands of times. It's the same process, the same steps. It's just the way we've done things has changed, and our network of help has grown. So I'm gonna hang off here for a second, and that's pretty much the presentation that I've done for you. I kind of compacted an hour presentation into 40 minutes because we want to honor Richie Gill and his expertise on property tax protest questions. If there's any questions from the chat, you can ask Richie in real time here. But just so you have the resources, the book, of course, was revised this year. And if you are buying a property, it's chapter 5 is the best chapter to start. It's 10 steps to the home buying process, which I just went over. It also covers my rich dad, poor dad story, which we talked a little bit about, and some of the reasons why you want to buy a home. Here is a needs and wants list. So this is something where you can kind of sit down. This helps break it down as far as what we need to do as far as the needs and wants, whether it be investment or whether it be a primary residence. We have Richie Gill's information in here, where you get a discount on the property tax protest fee. He normally charges on his website 35%. You put in Renner in there, and he charges only 25% contingency. Basically charging you 25% of the savings, no charge. And he's better at it than everybody in this room. That means he's going to get better taxable savings. This is a CMG's, where you can actually use the builder's incentives. This was new to me yesterday too. Use the builder's incentives to make the payments for the next 3 to 6 months, rather than buying your interest rate or doing more upgrades. That's kind of nice. Next one is we have the sheet on the equity line of credit, the HELOC, which you can have for through. That's news to me. Also, I have a buyer's agency agreement in here because that's required by law now. And then I also, this is my resource card. So pull out, if you don't do anything, pull out the blue resource card. It has all my resources in here. You just QR code it, and then all the websites that I have available. And we're also here to do business. So if anybody wants to talk real estate or go look at some properties, I've got a couple of agents here with me. And in fact, this one is right now, just came on the market. This guy has to sell. This is what you're looking for. This is 200 Great Lawn Boulevard. He paid $898 in 2021. It's sitting open house right now. He's a need to sell. He's relocating. He's moving to Florida. He's got another house under contract, and he has a deadline. He reduced this to $699. It's like, I mean, last week it was $799. Now it's $699. 4,200 square foot, built in 2021. Beautiful house. Who's a builder, Brandon? Scott Felder House. So if you want to see that today, you're welcome to. The open house signs point you over there. And but one thing you want to make sure that if you haven't chosen me as a buyer's agent, make sure you tell anybody that you are going to have a buyer's agent, and maybe Ken or maybe somebody else, but that'll reserve the right, whether it be a selling agent or a listing agent or a builder's model and say, no, I'm going to have to reserve the right to be able to have my own representation, because that's where you have your own security, your own to be able to talk candidly, and also my job is to get you the best deal. All right. Well, without further ado, and that's a lot of talking, but we're going to bring Richie Gill up. What's our time, Jackie? Good. All right. So, Richie, thank you so much
Ken.
for coming.
Yeah,
This is a busy time of day,
Yeah,
time of year
it sure
for you.
is.
Yeah. So, I mean, he came all the way from downtown to come up here and talk to us. So, but he's been a good friend of mine, and I think we've never met in person. We've
worked together for several years, and
Yeah.
It's always Zoom calls. And
Yeah.
So it's good to see you in person.
Yeah. But there's always something changing about the rules. So I'll let you go because you've done this many times.
All right. Well, thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
And, I was just going to give a quick testimonial to Ken before I get started. Is I deal with real estate owners all over the state. A lot of my clients are portfolio owners, people that own 5 properties, 10 properties, 100 properties. And Ken is the real deal. When it comes to doing this, he has shown a lot of people how to build wealth, how to build a portfolio. And I deal with several of his clients, including his father-in-law. So he is the real deal. Listen to him when he says something. He knows what he's talking about. So let's talk about property taxes. One of the biggest expenses when it comes to owning property. And so Texas has one of the highest property taxes in the entire nation. Okay, so people move here and they think it's a low tax state. We're going to have low income tax. Everything's going to be great. And they get the property tax bill in the mail and they're like, holy moly, what is this? And so they're always surprised by it. So that's when I get a phone call in our business. So let's talk about this. In Texas, we have what's called a mass appraisal system. And so every county has a appraisal district that basically comes up with a value for every single property in the county. So typically, like the Williamson County Appraisal District has somewhere around 50 people working there, and there's 500,000 parcels of land. So 50 people are tasked with appraising on an annual basis 500,000 properties. You do the math, that's 10,000 properties per year per person. Imagine trying to appraise that many. It is an impossible task. So what they do is they mass appraise. Every property in the county is a number on a spreadsheet. They have this big database of all these properties. They know a few characteristics here and there. A lot of the data is outdated, inaccurate. They don't know all the sales comps. And so they take this big statistical model and assign values to all the properties. And those values are what is used to generate your tax bill. Okay, and so that's an important key to this whole thing. So now what can you do about it? What can you do to fix the inaccuracies? It's to protest your taxes. Who here has protested taxes before? Okay, good. And out of those that protested taxes, did you go to just the informal or all the way to the ARB? Informal? Have anyone done an ARB hearing? Both, yeah? Okay, good. Yeah, so we have some experienced members here. So basically, this process is a legal right that every property owner in the state of Texas has. It's to protest their valuation. And so what does that mean? It essentially means it gives you the right to ask for justification from the county why you came up with this value, what your methodology and justification was, and then it gives you an opportunity to counter the evidence that the county has in their justification. So what does that mean? Like, what does this process actually entail? So you file a protest. That can be done either online or it can be done by certified mail, and it initiates this process. And you're given a couple opportunities, a couple venues in which you can give evidence and negotiate with the appraisal staff to lower your tax bill. So the first venue is the informal, which sounds like a lot of y'all have been to. Sometimes that's done online. Sometimes it's done in person. Sometimes it's done both. Most of these informals basically are an opportunity to talk with the appraisal staff and just kind of go over some of the data you have on your property, some of the justification they have on your property, and it allows you to see what they're thinking and kind of prepare for the formal argument. Who here has done like the online system where you get an offer on the online system? Do that? Okay. Okay. So the online system, when Williamson County handles protests every year, they're going to handle this year probably 50,000 protests, maybe 60,000 protests. The reason they have the online system is to make it efficient. And the reason they have the online offers is to get rid of a lot of that caseload. And so they kind of give what we call go away offers. They'll give you a little bit. So most people are cool with it and they're happy and they accept and move on with their life. The reality is, if you actually drill into that number, there's a lot more meat on the bone, typically, in these cases. They know their number, and let's say it's a $500,000 tax appraisal, they may offer you $25,000 less, even if the evidence they know supports a $50,000 reduction. They'll send that out to 25,000 people. Out of the 50,000 protests, 20,000 take it and move on with their life, and they don't have to go to ARB hearings. It's another one of their mass methods to reduce their caseload. Okay, so let's say, go through that. What's the next phase? The informal is either online or in person. The formal is what's called appraisal review board hearing, and it's basically an opportunity to sit in front of a panel of 3 people. It's the property owner or their representative. That's what we do as a company. Makes a presentation for why we believe the value should be less, and the appraisal district does the same thing. And there's a panel of 3 people, kind of like a small claims court environment, that basically votes on whether or not they agree with the arguments for a reduction. Okay, and so most of the time you have to present an evidence-based case. The appraiser sitting across from you is going to be doing that. They're going to have sales comps. They're going to have a bunch of statistical data on your property. They may know what you bought it for, even though Texas is a non-disclosure state. They can pull MLS. They're not supposed to, but a lot of times they're able to get their hands on some MLS data. They're also looking, if it's a newer build, they're looking at replacement cost data for the property to see how much it costs to build. So there's a bunch of different ways they can justify their value within the property tax code in Texas. So it's important to know that. And then you have to provide an evidence-based rebuttal. So a lot of homeowners, they'll go into the appraisal district and they'll say, well, there's no way I should be paying this much in taxes. There's no way it increased 15% year over year. And the appraisal district says, okay, great, show me the numbers. And that's where most homeowners kind of fall short. They don't know how to prepare an effective case to actually show that. They feel it and they know it, like this tax is too high, like what can I do about it? But you actually have to make a compelling story with the numbers. So that's kind of where we come in as a firm. You know, we file the protest, which is easy, anyone can do that. We have access to MLS data, so we can pull in sales comps. We can build a statistical model based on those. We can adjust the sales comps for this hearing. Also, we look at what's called equity comps. So the state of Texas is required to fairly tax your property versus other similar properties in the neighborhood. It's called fair and equal taxation. And so if you're being taxed at a higher adjusted age remodel, there's condition ratings that have to be adjusted from one house to the other. But if they're adjusted and they're unequal, we can get a reduction on our client's property by proving that inequity between two different tax appraisals. Okay, so that's one way. We look at the sales comps. If it's a newer property, we look at replacement cost data. So most appraisal districts, you know, we're in a community here, a beautiful community that has a lot of new homes. And so generally in the first appraisal cycle that a new home is appraised, it's going to be on a cost basis. They're going to be estimating construction costs, and then they're going to switch to a market-based approach, typically one more appraisal cycle after that. So the appraisal models switch. Homes under construction are also taxed as construction sites. So if you have the builder here, the multiple builders here, they are taxed if a house just has a foundation and some pipes sticking out of it, they pay a tax bill on that foundation of how much money has been put into the construction site up until January 1st, okay? So important notes, basically all this comes together into a case. We have a team that handles this. We have 8 different property tax consultants. This is all they do all day long. And if y'all have questions about this, we're gonna go over it. If we go in front of the ARB hearing, most of the time we're able to give a compelling argument and we're able to get a reduction on the tax bill. About 8 out of 10 cases in Williamson County, we get some kind of reduction on. We're able to find some kind of avenue to reduce the tax bill. And then there are some people that are genuinely taxed fairly or undertaxed versus their neighbors, or the comps don't support a reduction. That's generally a smaller number of cases, but that does happen. Okay, does anyone have any questions so far about informal ARB process? I know we're kind of getting into some nitty-gritty details. Okay. So after that, in Texas, you do have a right to appeal your ARB decision. And so this is important. So you go in front of the appraiser informally, or you do the online system, you don't get an offer you like. You decide to go in front of the ARB panel, kind of that small claims court environment where you have 3 people. They give you an offer maybe, but it's not what you think is fair based on the evidence. So you've gone through 2 hearings and you're still unsure. There's actually in Texas a 3rd hearing option called judicial appeal binding arbitration, which we take a fair number of cases to, especially Williamson County. Williamson County is kind of a harder county to get results in, because, and I can go into detail, but it's the way their software is built and the justification model is actually a little more effective, and their staff is a little stronger on evidence here than, say, Travis or Bell or some of the other counties. So basically, you're given one more opportunity to take it to what's called binding arbitration as the very last phase of the property tax process. Okay, so we've kind of gone over that. We have informal ARB, judicial appeal. Typically on this process, I would say in Williamson County, I just told you we get a reduction on about 80% of cases. The average reduction, depending on the type of property, was between 8 and 12% when we actually pull the statistical model and go to the hearings. That number kind of depends on the type of property. You know, you're going to have one thing I'm going to also bring up before we go to questions here is exemptions, and exemptions are a really big deal in Texas. So there's two ways really to impact your tax bill directly. One is by protesting, and two is by exemptions. And I guess the third is by voting on politicians, right? But that's more indirect. So the second one on exemptions, if it's your primary residence, it's very important to make sure you have applied for and gotten your homestead exemption. That gives you a couple different ways to protect your tax bill. One is it exempts you from $140,000 of school taxes. School taxes are a primary component of your tax bill, so that's very important. In addition, it provides an appraisal cap of 10% year over year on assessed value increases. So if your assessed value is $500,000 last year, it cannot be more than that plus 10%. And if they do go above that, they can't tax you on that, and you get a cap, essentially. Then over time, your appraisal will catch up to that cap. So the homestead's very important. During COVID, it saved people thousands of dollars in property taxes. It was a very important tool in COVID because of those caps. So if a property doubled in 12 months, they couldn't tax you on that full double. They could only tax you on 10% a year, and you eventually get caught up. Okay, so really important concept there. If you're over 65, there's an additional exemption that stacks on top of the homestead. So it's 140 plus an additional 60,000 in exemptions for the seniors. So that's really important.
And the tax freezes.
And their school tax gets a ceiling. So it's important to know the school tax gets a ceiling at that point. It's during the year you turn 65. Okay. And so at that point forward, like Ken said, you can't have your school taxes increase beyond that point. And that can actually move with you from house to house, county to county. And so it's a really important component. It also makes protesting even more important because you can lower that ceiling, but it can't go up. So if we get a reduction and lower the ceiling, that will stick with you for that, basically then until, you don't own property in Texas anymore, you pass away. So it's really important to get that ceiling as low as possible. Okay, so that's kind of the basics of protesting and of exemptions in the state of Texas. So what do we do as a firm? So we do the whole process for homeowners. Typically, we advise them to handle the exemptions on their own, but we can handle that as well. We can help them with that process. We handle the entire protest process from start to finish. We file a protest. We do all the evidence gathering to put together a compelling case for the appraisal district. We'll go in person to negotiate with the appraisal district staff on an informal basis, which typically gets and yields stronger results than the online express appeal system. And then we will also go in front of the appraisal review board and hear the case. And if we need to, we'll take it to the third phase, which is called binding arbitration, which happens in about depending on the county, about 1 in 10 to 1 in 20 cases. And that's an important note is most homeowners and even tax consultants, they do not like going to, or they do not know how to go to this binding arbitration phase. So because of that, the county knows that. And so when we're in an informal arrangement discussing these cases, they know us as a firm, we take several hundred of these to the comptroller's office for binding arbitration. We get more leverage in the hearings. It's just a known fact. Like we sit across from the appraiser and we discuss these cases. They know if we have a good case and they don't come to an agreement, we're going to see them in 60 days in an arbitration hearing. And if they lose the arbitration hearing, they have to pay the comptroller a $500 fee. So it actually costs them money to not listen to our evidence, to refuse us, and to go to the arbitration and lose. And so it becomes high stakes when we're talking about hundreds or thousands of cases. It can cost the appraisal district real money to not keep values in check when you're dealing with someone like us that has that leverage at the end of the process, even though only 1 in 20 properties, 1 in 10 properties go there depending on the county. Okay, with that, we do, like Ken said, we're offering a discount to everyone here and everyone watching. It's important. We charge a contingency fee. You're only going to pay us anything if we actually reduce the tax bill. If we go through this entire process and handle it for you, and if we do not get a reduction, you don't pay us anything. If we get a reduction because of Ken's discount he negotiated with us, that he negotiated a few years ago, that we're going to honor for the life of the relationship we have with you, you only pay 25% of tax savings. So if we get $1,000 reduction in your actual tax bill, you're only going to pay us $250, and you'll keep $750. You know, there's a number of online companies like Ownwell and several other ones that do this. They do what we call spreadsheet negotiations with the county. They're a nationwide firm, and they're kind of like the TurboTax of property tax, and we're more like a CPA firm. They do 1,000 at a time. They'll do 1 or 2 percentage points, 3 or 4 here and there, and they'll kind of do in bulk 1,000 at a time. And that's fine for most people, but a lot of times, especially investors and people more involved, they kind of realize there's more on the table. Dealing with someone that actually hears each case. You know, these companies a lot of times do not actually go to an ARB hearing. They never show up to a binding arbitration hearing, and the county knows this, and they get softer offers, and the whole process is just not nearly as effective. So with that being said, the 25% rate is about as good as you're going to get anywhere. It probably is the best you're going to get, especially for the level of service we're going to be offering, and make sure we're very detail oriented across the process. So with that being said, if you do want to sign up, go to gildenson.com, use the code Renner when you sign up on our sign up form. That brochure has the link to the website. I believe it also has a QR code to our sign up form. Go ahead and do that. The deadline is May 15th for us to file protests. You can do it on your phone even while you're here. Sign up. It's very quick and easy. Put Renner on page 2. That'll get you that 25% discount. Normally it's higher. Fully online sign up. You can track the case on our website. We have a dashboard that's really easy to use. You can upload pictures of your property if you want to show us the condition. It may be helpful. But other than that, we make it simple. Go ahead and sign up as soon as you can, and we'll take care of it from there.
So you said to me when we had our conversation that they changed the way they're, like Williamson County, how it used to be 3 months before and 2 months after the first of the year. Now they're taking the entire year and running an algorithm, which is really hard to figure out for the average person. Yeah, so they have a pretty large window of sales comps that they're able to pull in. And because Texas is a non-disclosure state, their data set is highly incomplete. So people do not have to, and they're not compelled by law to report sales data to the state or to your local appraisal district. So they'll know 1 or 2 sales in a neighborhood, but then there's 5 or 6 they don't know about. And so what happens is they're not seeing all the sales. It's just how it works. You'll get a little survey in the mail when you buy a property. It'll make it feel compulsory, like you have to report your sales price. When you get that survey, just throw it in the trash. In Texas, you do not have to fill that out. There's no reason to report your sales price that could be used against you in future years when it comes to taxation. So what are some things that we don't want to do?
Yeah, what are some things you don't want to do? So one is if you are protesting taxes yourself, you need to be very careful what you disclose, because it is an environment where everything's recorded, written down, and kept for all future years. And appraisal staff, when you say something, let's say you accidentally reveal that a bathroom was remodeled. They didn't know about that because you were trying to prove a point that you have less bathrooms than neighbor's property, and you accidentally show them a bathroom that was remodeled. You didn't even think about that, right? Just put $15,000 They change the condition rating on the property next year and say, it went from average to excellent. This person remodeled their house, right? There's a number of small nuances like that in these hearings that property owners need to be careful of accidentally disclosing things, because this is an environment where everything's recorded, and it's important to be careful of that.
Yeah, my wife called me in our last house, and she said, the appraiser is here, and he wants to go into our backyard. I said, I was busy. I said, sure, go ahead, let him in the backyard. Well, he got in the backyard, he looked inside the house, and we did remodel it.
Yep.
I said, no, get him out of the backyard.
Yeah, an appraisal staff will show up to your property and walk to your backyard and try to look around your house. You don't have to let them in. You're not required by law. So, it usually does not help you to do so. So you can say no. Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. $65. Yeah, it's an additional exemption. Yes, as long as the other spouse is 55 or older. Yeah. So, yes.
One more question. You said, let's just say, for example, $1,000 for you.
Oh, if you're already, I'm not a CPA, so I'm not going to directly answer that. But a lot of investors, for instance, do write this expense off because it's a tax expense, just like you'd pay a CPA to file your business taxes. So I don't want to answer that because I'm not a CPA, but a lot of our customers do. Yes, there is. Yeah, absolutely. We're still accepting customers actually all the way through May 14th at midnight. So
once you actually protest they can't, once you send your protest in, they can't use you. So you have to do it like if I want to.
Yeah. So do not send your protest in and hire us after. Hire us before we submit the protest. And there's an important reason, Ken. When we submit the protest, we submit an open records evidence request that requires and compels the district to send us the evidence 14 days before the hearing. You do that, most do not include written evidence requests, and so you'll never get the. So yes, we need to file that.
And you also try to apply. You submit all the protests the day before the deadline because the appraisal board gets tired.
Yes.
And we'll be the last ones to be.
Yes, a lot of times, homeowners, they ask us like, why are you waiting until May 14th or May 15th to file? Well, we like to file at the last minute so that way we get the last hearing in the summer, because then we have seen all the other evidence that they've brought in front of other homeowners and can kind of use that against them. And then they run out of time because they have a certification date of July 25th. And if they don't have their roll certified, they can get in trouble with the Texas Comptroller's office. And so they are motivated to get you through and get reductions and certify the tax roll. And so we have a lot of hearings in July right up against that certification date because we get a lot of leverage.
If I already did my protest and I have the meeting with the county, they neglect my appeal, can I hire you for the appeal or?
So typically not, but give me a call and I can discuss the case with you. I can look at your actual file. Most of the time we need to have taken it from the beginning so we get the full rights associated with the protest. Yeah.
It's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot. So if you don't mind, you can reach out to me. We can either talk about it afterwards, or I would. Yeah, absolutely. So we are statewide. So we're based here in Austin. I'm local. I'm one of the owners of the business, and we work in 230 counties in Texas out of the 254. So if you have second properties, rental properties, whatever it might be, all across the state, absolutely use that renter code when you sign up.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I haven't investigated yourself with a homestead exemption. What if you purchase the loan is under two people's names, but one is the father and the other is the son. The son lives at the property and wants to homestead. How does the exemption work?
Yeah. They prorate it. Yeah, so that's not a problem. So one person can be homesteaded and the other one not. That's fine, as long as the person has a driver's license address that matches and they're living there as their primary residence on January 1. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah.
What are you asking? No, I mean, this is important. I mean, main things are exemptions and protesting. You need to make sure you qualify for your exemptions. You can leave thousands of dollars on the table if you're not. And if you call me while I'm at my desk, I can actually look up to see what exemptions you're qualifying for. If you're like, did I actually qualify for this? I can see it in the appraisal roll and I can tell you, yes, it's on there. No, it's not. You need to apply. So I can do that for you. If you want to give me a call, I need to review that with you. Second is protesting. Everyone should really be protesting. There's very few exceptions. One of them, 100% disabled veterans because they don't pay property taxes. It's really the only exception. Even 65 and older should be protesting because your city and county taxes are not frozen. They can still go up. Most people don't know that. So important to know.
So another thing about Richie's firm is that he's usually one picking up the phone. So it's not a rotating 800 number person.
Yeah.
You get Richie when you call him.
Yeah,
So.
I love answering the phone and talking to our customers. So some people are surprised. We are going to handle about 25,000 protests this year. And so we have a team of about 12 people. I personally am at the desk Monday through Friday answering phones along with my business partner, Charles Denson. So when you call us, we care about our clients. We really do. We look at every single case. We spend probably more time than we should on each one of these. And so you're going to know you're going to get a full service experience with us. You can call me anytime. Literally that number on there, if you dial extension 1, rings my cell phone and I will answer it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Do you know what the solar exemption is?
Yeah. So real quick, I'll talk about the solar exemption. So if you have solar panels on your property, you can file for an exemption to exempt the value of those solar panels from your tax appraisal. So if the solar panels are worth $20,000, that $20,000 solar panel installation is not taxable by the county. Yeah. So if you're a 100% disabled veteran, you do not pay any property taxes in the state of Texas. You also don't pay for tolls, but property tax is the bigger one.
Is that on investment property too, if a veteran owns it?
It's only your primary residence.
Okay.
Primary residence. But yeah. Oh, really? 50. Yeah. And the lower disability ratings do get exemptions, but they're much smaller. So there's actually a big difference between 90 and 100% when it comes to property taxes. It can be thousands of dollars. So once you reach that 100%, you don't have to worry about any of the stuff we're talking about today. You're good.
Awesome.
Anything else before I head out? All right. Well, thank you, Ken, for having me. It was great being here, like always.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you. I went all the way up here. So yeah, thanks you guys for coming out. I appreciate you, and we tried to give as much information and much wisdom as possible in this 1 hour. And I do want to thank you, Eric Beasley. When did you buy your house from me? 2017. And come on up here for a second and tell a story. He drove all the way from Hayes County to thank me, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I appreciate you. But Eric didn't think he could get a home, and
It is great. I have a lot of respect and appreciation. Again, I went to one of his seminars. He was in our area in Hayes County, Ohio.
Give you a mic.
Oh, what the heck? I'll go. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And it was in our area in Kyle in Hayes County. It's like, oh, what the heck? I'll go. And at the time we were renting, and we're like, well, we think we want to buy, that kind of thing. And the house we were living in, the couple had they had actually relocated to Mississippi. And we were talking, it's like, well, we're probably not going to come back. Like, would you be interested in buying? I'm like, well, yeah. We kind of, and we agreed on a price, and it was like, what's time? I said, well, no rush, year, a couple of years. Because they were going to buy with the rent, they was good for them. And so we were saying, well, let's just move forward. And we talked to a couple of people, and some things were good, some things we need to work on. And so Ken had a seminar in our area, and I went, and it was like, and I talked to him afterward. I said, well, we're looking to buy, but right now, probably not the good timing. We probably have to wait a while, maybe a year and a half to get some things straightened out and so forth. And Ken says, well, I think we can work with you. Like, give me a call, tomorrow, and, we'll look at numbers and run this and so forth and so on. And he did. And he's like, I think we can make something work. And he put together a plan. And it was about, he's like, about maybe 6 months to 9 months, time frame. And I was like, nah, like that's not, like everybody else has been saying, do this, it'll take a couple of years, that kind of thing. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure. And put me in touch with his assistant, Sandy.
I can't remember.
Gosh,
10 years ago.
It's been a while, yes. And worked with both of them. That's it. Yeah, so amazing. Just the greatest person ever. And and we then worked with them and kind of took their instructions and like, do this, kept in contact, kept in communication. And it was about more like 7 months, I'm thinking. So it was well under the 9 months that you were thinking, and certainly well under the 2 years we had. And, everything went through and so forth. And the best of all, we bought the house and didn't have to move. That was even better. Didn't have to pack up anything. And it's just, I really have a tremendous respect and appreciation for Ken and competency. More than that, just his compassion and professionalism and just very respectful and so forth. And we've kept in touch over the years through email and just kind of looking at some things and maybe kind of looking at some opportunities, maybe a second opportunity now and so forth. So if you haven't already, connect with him. If you have, connect with him again. So really, I truly respect and appreciate, his guidance and his respect and everything else.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you coming all the way up here. Thank you. So that was amazing. This is why I do it. That's why I do what I do. And so, and lot of times people don't think about this. Like our investors, a lot of times we first thing we do, like the house I'm selling up in Temple, is ask the tenant if they'd be interested in buying it, because it can be a real win-win situation. They don't have to move. The kids don't even have to know that they were renting and owning, and it's and then you become a homeowner with the tax benefits and all that, and you do whatever you want to the house. But a lot of agents don't think that way. Like, why don't you buy the house you're living in now? And I think that's a really good way to do it. And of course, we always offer it to the tenant, but if they don't want to, then we'll go sell another house. And so that's one thing I always tell my investor clients. First person now. So anyways, that's the end of our presentation here in Santa Rita Ranch, and we thank you for coming to the #1. How many people actually live here in Santa Rita? All right. No, in Santa Rita. So, okay. Thank you. How did you find out about it? Was it email, post, Facebook? Okay, great. So no more postcards. They don't work. So, but anyways, thanks y'all for coming. I really appreciate it. And if you want to hang, we're here to hang out and talk about real estate. About if you want to go look at some malls, go look at that fire sale down the street. We're here to serve, and we'll be here all day. So. Thanks, Brandon, for coming all the way from Colleen, and Jackie from the south side of the neighborhood, and Richie all the way from downtown or somewhere near there. So thank you. And Marcella came. And did you postpone your flight to be here? Okay, great. Thanks for coming. And thanks to everybody else. You've got my contact information. In the book is the blue card that has all my websites and all that kind of stuff. And just looking for a cup of coffee, have a conversation with y'all and see how I can help serve you. All right. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Thanks again. Anybody want to look at a model home? My wife does. I know she does. Will. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Thank you.
Stop the light. Yeah. All right, thank you for watching. You guys have a beautiful day.